This video is to help you purchase property. If you're just starting, you're brand new into real estate, looking to purchase property, or you've already bought a lot of different properties, this video is to help you in that path. We're going to cover 9 different sections, and so you can go back to it, you can rewatch, you can look at the different steps that you need to pursue in purchasing real estate. These include, number 1 is what you need to do the very first thing before you ever talk to a lender, before you ever talk to a realtor, the first steps when you're starting this buying process. Number 2 is to not get stuck. People will get started, they'll get with a realtor, they'll get with a lender, then they get stuck. Number 3, we're going to cover what you need to do in getting with a lender. And number 4, what you need to do in getting with a realtor in this process of purchasing property. Number 5, what you're going to do in your property search, what type of property you're looking for, where you're looking for it, how you're going to search and find the property that works for you. Number 6, making the offer, the paperwork you need to go through in making the offer and getting with your realtor to make the offer with the best potential for you to acquire a property. Number 7, the contract requirements. Once you've made an offer, you're under contract, what are the requirements that you need to make sure you stay on top of going forward? Number 8, the settlement and the closing. The settlement is signing all the documents. The closing is getting the funds transferred and getting you on title. And number 9, what do you do after you're done, you've purchased your property? Where do you go from there? So let's get started. And the very first thing that you want to do is based on the results of talking to a lender. So the first thing you need to do in talking to a lender is to get a pre-approval. But as soon as that lender pulls a credit report for you so that they can get you that pre-approval letter, which you want to have that to be able to include in the paperwork when you're making an offer. But as soon as they pull that credit report, the credit bureaus legally can then sell your information to lenders all around the country. And so as soon as they see that you have had a credit report pulled on you, you are going to start getting phone calls, text messages, emails from lenders all around the country who want your business. And legally, the bureaus can do this. So the very first thing you need to do is opt out of the bureau selling your information. Now, this typically, what I've been told, is takes about 2 weeks to do this. So you want to do this before you ever talk to your lender, or if you talk to your lender, make sure they don't make a hard pull on your credit for at least a couple weeks. Give you the best shot to get into this opt-out system with the credit bureaus. So what you want to do, one of 2 things. You're either going to call the phone number 888-382-1222, or you're going to go to www.optoutprescreen.com, and you're going to opt out of the ability for the credit bureaus to sell your information. So you want to do that first thing. Then, before talking to a lender, you want to talk to a realtor. And a realtor, one of the things that they're going to be through this whole process for you is a huge resource. So at this point, you want to explain to them what your situation is as much as possible, and they're going to give you some recommendations for lender options. So if you're a brand new first-time home buyer, they're going to be able to give you some options of lenders who work with first-time home buyers, who have maybe connections for the Utah housing loans or for other options that will give you the best options in purchasing property. If you have multiple businesses and you show very little income, you want to be able to work with a lender who is familiar in getting loans for you where you show little income, but you have a lot of assets, you have businesses, or maybe you have a lot of properties and you have a lot of equity and you're going to use that equity to purchase. Anyway, get with a realtor. They're going to give you a couple options for lenders. And then finally, in this first step, you're going to get with a lender. Main thing that you want to do, as I mentioned, is get a pre-approval letter. That letter in writing is going to help you in making a successful offer for a purchase. Now, working with your realtor, he will get with the lender to get the wording correct, to get information on that pre-approval to help with that offer as well. And getting a pre-approval doesn't just mean that if you're approved for $1 million house, $1 million land, whatever it is, that you're going to by that much. If your budget, if you don't want to go over 800,000, you don't want to go over 600,000, whatever it is, you're going to work with your realtor and you're going to stay within what you're comfortable. But that is the first step in the process of buying real estate. Second step, don't get stuck. I see 4 things where people get excited. They want to buy a new home. They're looking to buy some land, or they want to get a commercial property, whatever it is. And then they get stuck after this first step. They've gotten with a realtor, they've gotten with a lender, but then they get stuck. And there's 4 reasons that they get stuck. Number 1, it just seems overwhelming. They just have too much going on in their lives with work, with family, different options, and they get overwhelmed. And this is closely related to number 2, is that they don't have the time. Buyers just decide, I don't have time to do this. And typically it's because they want to micromanage everything. They want to be so involved that they don't allow their realtor and their lender to take some of that responsibility, to take some of the work off of their shoulders. So these first 2 steps of being overwhelmed and not having time, your realtor and your lender are going to help out. And they're going to take some of that load off of you and be able to help you to keep moving forward. Number 3 is people think that they can't qualify. So they stop at some point in here and just think, I won't ever get the amount of money that I need in a mortgage, or I won't get my offer accepted. They just have doubts and they quit moving forward. And the last one is that people say, well, I want to wait for interest rates to come down, or I want to wait until the spring, or I want to wait until there's more inventory. There's not enough options out there. If you're excited about purchasing real estate, get with your realtor, because almost at any time you're going to find good options for you. And putting yourself into a box where you're going to wait for lower interest rates or for springtime or something else, you could miss some opportunities to find the ideal piece of real estate for you. Now, sometimes you're under pressure. You've got to be out of the home that you're in, that you're renting, something like that, or you're changing jobs and moving to a new city and you need to get into a home, and so you don't have those luxuries. Typically, you're going to be moving forward, and getting stuck is not going to affect you or be an option for you. But if you find yourself in one of these things, talk to your realtor, and they'll be able to help and encourage you and take some of that load and help you to have that confidence to move forward. Step number 3 is getting with your lender. Now, you're going to be providing some information to your lender, and as I mentioned, they're going to do a hard credit pull. You want to do that because you want to be able to show the seller of a property that you have this pre-approval from a good lender, and your realtor is going to be able to submit that with your offer, and it's going to help you a lot to be able to have a strong offer presented for any property that you find that you want to pursue. So working with your lender, you're going to be providing them information. And step number 4 is going to be working with your realtor. These are very interrelated, working with your realtor, because at the same time as you're getting pre-approved from your lender, you're going to be working with your realtor to look at what your budget is, what are the criteria of the real estate that you want to purchase, whether it's land, whether it's a home or commercial property. You're going to be giving your realtor the criteria that you want to meet. Now, one of the things that I tend to find, at least in my business, is often I will have a sense of what my buyer wants better than they have for what they want. And that typically comes from seeing properties, and that's going to be within this 4th step of working with your realtor. You're going to start looking at properties. As I go with my clients and we walk through a home, or we're walking on different land, if we're looking at land options or commercial property, and typically I can take the criteria that they're looking for of so many square feet or so many bedrooms or so much acreage and so much water, and typically I can see how they act and react as we go through a property, and I can put that into my database and the information that I'm keeping on you as the buyer to be able to come back to you. Now, it doesn't mean that your criteria won't change, but you need to make sure that you're open and understanding of your realtor, because so many times I'll go back to a client and say, okay, now you said that a walk-in closet was not a make or break deal, but every time we've gone, these last 3 properties we've seen, your wife has gone back to the walk-in closets or the walk-in pantry. That's a big one as well, or whatever it is. And I get the sense that it is a make or break deal, that if you don't have this certain criteria, that it's not going to be a property that you want to get, that if you don't have the view for this real estate or you don't have something else. And so working with your realtor is going to be so important, because your realtor is going to help you realize what it is that you really want. They're going to be able to give you information, talk to you about the reactions that you've had as you've seen different properties. So enjoy the ride. The realtor is going to help you a ton. Next, item 5 in this process is your property search. Now, typically a buyer will have in mind where they want to be, the location where they want to purchase a property. Again, a realtor, as you start looking at property, is going to be able to help you better understand different locations and benefits and things that will affect the long-term outlook that you should have when you're purchasing property. And as you continue through this process, if you're finding stuff on your own, don't ever think, well, I need to let my realtor get my properties for me. Your realtor will love it if you're texting your realtor and saying, hey, this is an option that just came on the market. Can you give me some information about it? That actually helps your realtor with their job as well. Another thing that a realtor is going to do for you in that property search is they're going to have access to a lot of information about properties that have previously been on the market, the people who own different properties, and your realtor is going to be pursuing, if they find a property, a home, a piece of land, whatever it is, that they feel like is right for you, your realtor should be able to come back to you and give you information about different properties that maybe aren't on the market, but about which they have information, and help you determine if it's worth pursuing with the owner of that property to make an offer. Many times I've had a client that we've found a property and we have approached the owner of the property and made an unsolicited offer. And typically the way that we go about this is I will contact the owner, just let them know that it looks like their property, their home, their business, their building, whatever it is something that a client of mine would be interested in, and ask them if they would entertain an offer to sell their property. And so use those resources of your realtor to look for things that aren't on the market but may fit the criteria that you're looking for. Step 6 is making the offer to purchase. Once you've found the property, whether it's an unsolicited offer that you're going to be making, or it is a property that is on the MLS, or it's on a commercial website, LoopNet, one of those, you're going to get with your realtor and decide how you're going to structure your offer. This can include a variety of things, and your realtor is going to help determine how best to structure your offer. Remember, we do this full time, and so your realtor should be taking time to communicate well with the listing agent or with the owner of a property to determine such things as, are they selling to move somewhere else? Are they still trying to find a place to move? Do they have the resources to move? A lot of different things which will help you structure your offer to the point of being able to say, hey, we don't need to move in, and so we're willing to allow you to stay for a certain time on the property or in the home past closing, or anything that is going to help you in your offer. Now, depending on the market, if it is a seller's market and you are probably going to be competing with a lot of other buyers, you are going to be depending on your realtor to get you information to help you make an offer that is going to best fit that seller. And lots of times it doesn't come down just to price. And just to give you an example, just a short time ago, I had a client, we were looking at different properties. One of the properties we went to, it was an open house, and the homeowner was at the house. And so I had the listing agent introduce me and my clients to the homeowner. And we asked a number of questions of the homeowner, why they were selling. Anyway, we talked to them quite a bit. We went and looked at some other homes, and then I told my clients, we need to go back again because we want that homeowner, we want that seller to know who you are. And so we went back through, and my clients, husband and wife, as we went through, said hello again to the homeowner, talked a little bit more to them. And pretty soon after we left and the open house ended, I called the listing agent with some more questions and just reminded him, hey, this is Brian Olsen. You met my clients and we met the sellers. Thanks for introducing us. But I kept in contact with him so he knew who we were. By the end of that day, we did end up making an offer on that home. And we had a few conditions because we knew that some things about the seller. But there had been a lot of people at that open house, so we knew there was going to be a number of offers, and there were. I think there were 5 or 6 offers on this home. And ours was not the highest offer, but ours was accepted. And not only just because we had some conditions in there, but because my clients had met the seller, the son who was selling this home, had connected with him. And anyway, make sure your realtor is doing these types of things. They should be really stepping it up for you to make sure that they're getting as much information as possible, they're making as many contacts as possible, and helping you to be able to write up an offer that is going to be the most competitive for you and what you're trying to do. Step 7 is what to do once you're under contract. So you've made the offer's been accepted, and you're under contract. Now, typically, the most important time frame during this duration that you're under contract is called the due diligence time frame. This time frame is when you can get a lot of things done, and if for any reason you decide to cancel your contract, you can cancel the contract with no repercussions. Once you get past that due diligence deadline, you've got some possible repercussions depending on financing and appraisal. And so during that due diligence period, you want to do things such as a home inspection. And a home inspection can cover so many different things. Get with your realtor again, and you're going to go through whether you just want a basic home inspection or whether you want to include a methamphetamine inspection, a mold inspection. Do you want to have the sewer pipe scoped? There's a lot of different things that you may want to consider, and a realtor is going to be able to go through those steps with you to determine what is going to give me the most information to make sure that I'm comfortable in continuing this purchase contract. Because once you get past, like I said, once you get past that due diligence deadline, there could be repercussions if you cancel. Repercussions where you could lose your earnest money or you could be forced to purchase the property. And a realtor is going to help coordinate a lot of that information. Most of my clients, they're busy, they have family and work, and so I do a lot of coordinating in between inspections, getting title reports, information from the title company, reviewing that information with my clients, reviewing that with the title company, make sure that we get things cleaned up if they need to be cleaned up that are on the title report. And all of this can lead to additional negotiations with the seller. If something comes up during that due diligence and you want to have enough time so that you can go to the seller if you need to negotiate some additional terms. If you did a scope of the sewer drain and it has tree roots all through it and it's just days away from probably causing a backup of the sewer, you want to probably renegotiate and have some concessions from the seller, being able to show them the evidence that this is why you're looking for those concessions. But those are some things that you want to be able to do and have your realtor work with you on to make sure that you're getting a property that hopefully you won't have any problems with and that's going to meet all of the criteria that you're looking for. Step number 8 is the settlement and the closing. So not a whole lot happens during this time other than to make sure the paperwork's correct, get it signed, and then wait for the seller to sign their portion of the paperwork and for the title company to get the funds transferred to the seller and record you as the new owner. And so it's a wait until that happens. Once that is done, step number 9, now what? Your realtor is going to stay in contact with you. And typically what I like to do is just let my clients know what's happening in the market. If something new's planned in the area, I don't know, a shopping center is going to go in next door, or a new multi-unit building is going to go in next door. Whatever it is, I like to stay in touch with my clients, and you should expect that from your realtor, that you're going to get on an ongoing basis information about your property. If you don't want that, let your realtor know, but otherwise you should regularly receive market value estimates or information about the community and how it may impact you. You may also need documents for tax purposes in that first year after you purchase the property. If you have a warranty on the property and something happens, you may need that information. Know that you can always go back to your realtor and get information if you need it. Title companies, they keep paperwork, and realtors, brokerages, they keep paperwork. So you should be able to get information if you need that. Once you're getting moved, relocated, all of that, don't stress. if you don't know where all of your paperwork is for the purchase of a property. Get with your realtor. They can either get with the title company or get you information typically for what you need. This process, these 9 steps should help you. You can go back, look at each of these steps, stop, play, get with me. I'd love to help you, whether it is in my local area or getting you a realtor anywhere in the country to help you get a property that will work for you. Let me know. Subscribe to my channel for more information like this. My contact information is in the description below. Feel free to contact me anytime.